Hey guys, it's Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Now today I want to talk about the Titan event that's going on. I know it's been a few days since it started and a couple of people have asked me about my opinions on different things. The main thing I want to really talk about here as well is how to avoid getting sniped in the champion training tournament if you're going for Nergigante Archer. If you are kind of chasing that, I've got the champion, so there's a soul. I'm not really that fussed about it, but I know a lot of people want this Archer. So I'm going to give you some suggestions about whether you feel safe or not, just based on how a champion training tournament works. If you want to know how to best do champion training, the same principles applies from the Alatrine video that I did a few weeks ago and the champion training sort of graphs and things. Go check out those videos. I will put a card in the top right corner so you can click on them. That kind of explains the best approach for doing these events. It is the same model, essentially. The numbers might be different, but the way you go about it is going to be the same, with a few little exceptions, which I'm going to mention in this video. So we obviously have this new Rathalos Blade Master Titan event. I honestly thought from the picture it was Fatalis Blade Master, which I was like, thank Lord, we don't need to get the soul for that. But actually it's Rathalos. And this time they have put the split souls and they've got up to a 4-star. So the first real question you've got to ask yourself is 4-star for Rathalos Blade Master worth it? Well, I would say yes, because the 4-star is now the breakpoint for damage dealers. Because the 4-star point is now the breakpoint for the stats you need for a damage dealer. You can see at 4-star, we get 38% crit damage. This is what Rathalos would get at that 4-star. You know, at 1-star, he's not even getting attack anymore. At 2-star, you get attack here, and then you get a bit of defense. So you're going to make him tankier, and you're also going to give him substantial amounts of damage. Now, you don't necessarily get a big amount of blessing bonus, right? You pretty much, your options for a 4-star Rathalos are going to be either a brimstone if you build him with accuracy, which is really silly because he doesn't need it, so not really a good idea. Crushing Rend, you kind of need to be 6-star, so you won't use that. So you're kind of torn between, do I take Phantom Touch for a bit more bonus damage, which you won't get the really big boost, which is the 75% chance until 5-star, and he doesn't multi-hit, so it's quite a low chance at 30%. Or you can take something like Cruelty, but again, you don't really get this big step up to 15% and 2% per hit up until rank 5. Or what I think is probably the best one now is Heaven Cast, if I'm being honest. It is probably the best option because you get 1% at rank 3. So as long as you can get like 5 buffs, it's a 5% damage boost. It's probably good because he hits really hard. And like I said in the original Rathalos video, where you can gain more multipliers and additional multiplication effects, that is where you can really scale his damage up big time. So I would definitely probably say a 4-star Heaven Cast is quite valuable. And because it is also at the milestone 4, you can actually skip quite a lot. The 1,700 points, that's what they've announced. If we check the news article here, hopefully it's still in the list because I know it goes away very quickly. Here we go, we can see it's only going to last for about 2 weeks, probably until the next fusion. It's very small compared to last time. We're going to have 1,700 Blade Master points in total, 950 in week 1 and 750 in week 2. You can expect around about 300 to be in the Summon Rush, and there's probably going to be some sort of champion chase with another 300. So about 600 of that 1,700 I would expect to be summoning only, which is a very important number. That probably means you can skip all of the summoning events should you wish to do so, and I think you can still probably do it. We've also got the Perfect Soul Split Stars, which is great and all that. I'll give you a bit of an example of what a 5-star will do and all that kind of stuff. But the key thing is you can skip 700 if you want the soul. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the rewards here are terrible. They're not. They're very good. An Eternal Soulstone, quite hard to get. 6-star Mythical Chaos Ore, you only really get 1 a month from Centranos, so it's very good. Mythical Skill Tomes, you tend to pick them up from different places now, but you know, if you've got a lot of champions, like if you've been lucky and you've pulled a lot of them, you might really value that. A Primal Shard, it's not bad. You might value that. The powder is actually quite a lot of energy, but it is also not that much if you get lucky. So these rewards here are not essential. And if you're exhausted, like me, tired of doing training events, tired of doing different events, I'm not really going to chase these rewards. I'm going to ignore that. But I actually think the 4-star at 1,000 points, considering I could skip 700, is probably worthwhile. It's probably worth doing because it will give your Rathalos quite a bit of damage. It's a nice bit of damage boost. You will also pick up some gems, some Chaos Dust, an Immortal Soulstone, which is really nice. There's some mythical charms here. That's also very good. These are really valuable. I can't say it enough how valuable these mythical charms are, in my opinion. Get some immortal soul coins, some lesser oil, pretty good rewards. You can see I've only done a few events and I've already chopped off quite a lot here. So even if you only get 2-star Blade Master Soul or even a 3-star Blade Master Soul, That's still pretty good. Like 600 points over 1700 points. If you just did a few different events here or there, it's probably not that difficult to get. So it looks to be quite a forgiving event. I think it's quite good. The only thing I will say is this Dungeon Divers, when I saw it, was a bit tragic at 7,000. Obviously, you don't have to do these rewards, but 4,350, that's quite a high bar. I've been chipping away at it. I did the Fire Knight Turn Attack tournament, got that out of the way. And I've also done a bit of champion training now as I'm working up to get the points on the champion training. So I'll probably get to the 70. Whether I do the 100 will just depend on how much energy I have left over and whether I really care to push that hard. But I always worry about these things because if you are planning on skipping the summon rushes, you've got to be careful about how much you skip in the events. I got dealt a pretty hefty blow in the last Titan event. The 50 that I skipped from one artifact enhancement event was the 50 that I needed in the Deck of Fates. So I had to go and get that Rathalos Blade Master. It was a brutal experience. So be careful about missing these if you have the energy. I would recommend you do it. But if you don't, then that's fair. There is like ×2 Savage on. There's lots of different events on, so you can chase it. The Artifact Enhancement event looks pretty standard at 4775. They split the points, which is nice. So you can pick up a few points here without having to go deep. But if you're like me as well, I've got to do a bit of a gear cleanse. I've let it go on. I'm ashamed of the situation. We've got to do a massive gear cleanse. So that's kind of a bit of a problem. By the time this video goes out, I probably have already done it because I'm going to be doing it on the stream tonight at the point of me recording it, which will be last night. You can catch the VOD if you want to know how to do gear cleansing. So these events are coming thick and fast. We've got a Summon Rush tomorrow. That Summon Rush is going to contain a guaranteed White King Narcissus. Now, I will probably put out another video because I'm really tempted to go for this White King Narcissus. I've got the Fusion Ancora, and he, with his partner, the two of them together are pretty much on par with Siphirotus, on par with Taras Marichka. They're not necessarily better, but they're very good into Tarichka. They're very, because of the way that his abilities work here, right? Any strengthen or shield. Marichka strengthens. Most champions or most teams start with bolster. So it's like a very good way of getting into and getting damage from him. The big thing as well, because he's HP based, Taras cannot reduce his attack, right? That's the reason why Taras is so hard to kill often. Is every time you attack him, he's reducing the attack value. So you can't really put attack-based champions into him. This kind of solves that problem. He's also easier to keep alive because he's HP based. And with his partner in crime, which is White Queen Ancora, she pretty much gives him another A2. So you get two A2s back to back, and that A2 is a very high multiplier. So for me, without having Siphi, without having Taras or Marichka, it's a very tempting offer. If you do that, then the Summon Rush will be pretty straightforward because you need 110 Voids. You'll get this Summon Rush done completely. And that might even give you some like leeway to not push the Dungeon Divers if that's what you want to do. So that is on tomorrow for 110 Void Shards. There's also a progressive event, but the progressives are not that crazy. Now, the main thing we want to talk about here is the Champion Training Tournament. So as you can see, I've already got Nergigante Archer. I was fortunate enough to get her right at the start of the month of January. I don't know how I got lucky. I had a bit of a crazy spurt of being able to get champions right at the start of the month, which is, I don't know. I spent 6 months not getting any champions, but there we go. So I've got her. So I get instead the chance to getting a 6-star soul, which, do you know what? I would love, but I'm so tired of doing champion training events right now. I can't like bring myself to do more than the minimum. I might get the legendary book, but I really just cannot bring myself to do more than the minimum here. Now, what is the difference between this and a hero's path? Well, the biggest factor you're going to have to be wary of is burst potential. Now, what I mean about burst potential is someone coming in last minute, within the last 20 minutes, and dropping a substantial amount of champion training points, because you have to win the tournament. It's not like the hero path where it was guaranteed, you just had to do the grind. You have to win this. So if you're committing to this, you need to be prepared for your own burst strategies, right? So there was 2 strategies coming into this. You either joined a bit late and did a very quick burst so that you kind of scared off everyone, or you basically do a sustained strategy. Now, when I went for, I think, the Kyoku guaranteed, the Kyoku tournament, when this was a similar tournament, I pretty much went with the sustained strategy. So what does that mean? That means going through all of your process of making rank 2s into rank 3s, rank 3s into rank 4s, and then making a bunch of rank 5s. But what you will do instead, I haven't done it here because I'm not trying to win the tournament, you will leave all of your rank 5s at level 1. But just keep making rank 5s all the time. Constantly keep making rank 5s. Because what you're doing is you're building a burst pool. And then when it's the last 30 minutes of the tournament, you'll need to get up early to make sure if it's different awkward time zone for you. For me, for example, it'll probably finish at like 8 o'clock, so it's not too bad, but some time zones it's really early. You need to be there within the last half hour, and then in the last half hour, you unleash your burst on people. So that means going to your rank 5s and partially leveling them up to level 25. You'll have to do this through brews. You won't have time to do it in campaign, you're going to have to do it through brews. Then once you get them to level 25, you make your rank 6 champions. You pick out, you basically work out now what champions do you want to rank 6. You get them all lined up and then you rank 6 them all at the same time. That gives you a huge amount of burst. Then if you have them, you will book people, because in this tournament, you will get books available to you. So you can basically get 200 points if you do a legendary skill tome. If you're booking a mythical, it's 500. Now, we don't normally book out of clan versus clan. I understand this. And this is not going to cross over clan versus clan. But if you want to win this champion, then you might have to sacrifice your clan versus clan, because these books are huge. They're a very big part of your points. The other thing you should be considering using is your barrels. I don't particularly use barrels, but once you make that rank 6 champion, barrel them. That is a huge amount of points, because if you look at how many points you get per level of a rank 6, you can see how to upgrade a champion's rank. You get 300 for rank 6. If you upgrade a rank 6 champion, you're going to get 8 points, which means you can walk away with a single barrel giving you 472 champion training points, which means if you look at my one, I've got 24 barrels. That's going to give me straight away about 11,000 points for my barrels alone. Don't sit there with, I've got a 10,000 lead. That is not safe. You can get sniped off at about 20,000. That doesn't necessarily mean you will, but you have to be prepared to be able to unleash that burst yourself. You need to have, probably by the end of this tournament, a good 20,000 points available to you that you can just dump last minute in case you get sniped. Otherwise, you will be in a very difficult situation. Now, if you're sitting here and you're watching, it's like the lead is already at 60,000 and you're at 10,000, you're probably not going to be able to compete unless you're willing to spend. So then you need to make the decision early. I will recommend everyone goes and gets this legendary book, as I always do with champion training tournaments, because it's much easier to do a champion training tournament, and this book is probably worth it, especially the tokens, like 150 tokens. There's some prism quartz here as well. I wouldn't skip these rewards. My plan is currently to go to 11,000, and then if nobody in the cluster, in this group, really wants this soul, then might compete for it because I've got some materials. But I'm not really into like grinding my sustain points, which is what I would need. I don't have as much burst as I would like, so I would have to work through that problem to try and generate it, and that's going to cost me time, energy, and my sanity, which I'm done after Alatrian for a while. But that is what you need to do, okay? You need to build up your rank 5s, get them there at level 1, and just keep generating rank 5s, and then 30 minutes before the end, you unleash all of that burst. You level them up to 25, you then make your rank 6 champions, you barrel your rank 6 champions, you book any champions you need to, even ascend the champions can give you some points as well. Although I will say ascension is way better in clan versus clan than it is here, but it will give you some bonus points. And just basically for that last 30 minutes, don't stop brewing, don't stop barreling. You could even use, if you want to, a feast, but they are much less value. Like you can see, I've got like 3 feasts. I've got a lot more barrels. So, you know, be prepared for that reality. There are people out there that sit on a lot more resources than I've shown you in this video. If you do that, you should have a good path to success. Follow the principles that I gave you in the Alatrian videos about partially leveling champions. That should give you a good indication of the best way to do it. If you've got it, raid card. If you don't have it, get it. If you're going for this champion, the raid card will help you substantially because you're going to be doing a lot of campaign. It will help you get more experience for your energy. It's a really, really good benefit. I've cancelled mine now, but I missed it by a day, so I've got another 4 weeks of it. It's a shame the Forge Pass has kind of ended. That was an extra bonus as well, but the raid card is more valuable than the Forge Pass here, so definitely get that if you're going for it as well. If you are going for it, I wish you the best of luck. It is not a fun experience, but it is a short tournament. And short tournaments are better than long tournaments because it's less stress. You can get it out of the way in like 4 days. So good luck if you're going for it, and hopefully you get some success. And as I said, if you're going for Narcissus as well, maybe you get lucky and you get another Void Legendary on the way. I think I'm pretty close to my Void Mercy, so I'm very tempted by it. But that is the breakdown of the Titan events, the breakdown of the sort of training events, the things I needed to do. I will put a link to my Alatrian videos in the pinned comments so that you can go and get the spreadsheets that can help you plan out your training, right? The Alatrian Heroes Path is a champion efficiency chart that I built, which kind of allows you to see how much levels you will gain by doing one run in any different stage or difficulty, so that you can basically figure out how many runs you need to do to get a champion to max level and various different things to try and min-max your energy as much as you can. But there you go, guys. Let me know in the comments below, are you going for the archer? Do you have it already? Are you going for the soul? I'm really not interested in it. I'd love it, but I'm not motivated to do it, but I'm really curious if other people are. I know there's a lot of discontent about this champion archer being like a champion you have to win the tournament for, but I guess, we can't have everything in the world. But let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next video.